What's going on, guys? This is Kyle Carroll from MyMMAnews.com and Carroll's Corner MMA podcast. Today, I'm joined by Anna Crutchfield. Anna, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Anna, tell us a little bit what you've been up to and what you got coming up in next few weeks.
Okay, so last May, I believe it was May, I actually joined the Wako Team USA. So we had the World Championships back in October. We were in Bosnia. And now I'm getting ready. We have to requalify for the team this year. So our nationals is at the end of this month in Delaware.
Oh, wow. So you have to requalify every time for the team?
Yes, sir. Every year.
Oh, wow. So nationals are coming up. How's training going? Who are you training with? And just any idea who you might fight first?
Training is going amazing. We actually, back in October as well, moved into our new facility, the new karate school. Upstate Karate, and it is beautiful, amazing new facility. It's state of the art, and of course I'm training with Stephen Thompson, and recently we had Chris Weidman, Ryan Hall, Matthew Miller. They were all in town, so it was really good to be on the mat with such highly skilled fighters. It's really cool, but always I have my consistent teammates that are always there for me. A couple of my teammates are getting ready for fights coming up, so we're all just grinding really hard right now.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw the video of you with Chris Weidman. He's a fellow Long Island guy, and I know him and Wonder Boy have that family connection. So you get in the train with guys like that. What do you learn when you train with people of that caliber?
Well, one, I learned that you can be hammer-fisted on top of the head, which Chris actually did to me. I didn't even realize it when we were sparring, but I went back and I watched the video, and I was like, did he just hammer fist me on top of my head? And it was so funny. It was just like a little boop on top of the head. But it's really amazing to see, of course, all those guys are much bigger than I am. Steven's much higher skilled in striking than I am. But they're always there to help me. Because it's never like they're in there beating me up, which easily they could because they are so much bigger and so much stronger. But it's amazing to see that kind of talent and the way they're willing to slow it down and really just be there to help me train as well.
Awesome. And now, from what I understand, when you do the national kickboxing tournament, are you fighting on multiple times in a day?
There's the possibility, but I'm not sure right now how big my bracket is. So basically, this year it's actually a pretty big deal because we're getting ready for the Pan American Games, which are at the end of this year. So the winner of that will be going to, we'll be going to Brazil for the Pan Americans.
Oh, wow.
And then you have to win in the Pan Americans to go to the World Games in 2021, which will actually be in Birmingham, Alabama. But there's only 3 weight classes for women that go, and 132, which is my weight class, is one of them. So I feel like a lot of the girls that I've competed with on my team, from previous years, they're kind of shifting around weight classes to try to get to one of those 3 spots.
Awesome. Oh, so there's a lot of women fighting for 3 spots, really.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be great. I know some of the girls in my bracket, they are my fellow Team USA teammates. So they're already really high skilled fighters. It's going to be a great time.
Awesome. And have you fought outside of the tournament coming up? Have you taken any recent fights, like local promotions or anything like that recently?
I have not recently. So my last fight was actually in Bosnia in October, and I haven't fought since then. So, but I'm looking for, after nationals, I'm hoping to get around and get more fights in.
Awesome. And talking about fighting in Bosnia and going to other countries to fight, what does that do for you mentally and as a career for your future career in kickboxing? Being able to travel like that and then kickbox, fight, and then you travel back home. You're already getting the thought, the routine of traveling and fighting, because most fighters don't fight in their backyard.
Yeah, it was actually an amazing experience, to know that you can hang with literally the best fighters around the world, not just in the country. I know it's very common for people to be like, oh, I'm a world champion, but it's really just some local promotion and you fought 3 times, Yep. So to really actually be overseas and see all across the world these fighters and to be able to hang with them and compete on that high of a level, it's a huge confidence boost, because when you come back to the States, you're like, I mean, I'm not going to see anything
Hmm.
here that I haven't seen there. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
it was amazing.
Well, what country, I guess, kind of had the most like different style or something you picked up from other countries? Was there anything that that you hadn't seen and you're like, wow, this is pretty interesting. I might incorporate this, and oh, now you know to look out for this from different countries. Anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of the European countries, because they are so close, they fight like every weekend. They're in each other's backyards fighting each other. So they're all very similar in the way they fight.
Hmm.
What really surprised me was the scoring system. So I know over here we do like the 10-9 must system. So
Hmm.
the winner of the round gets 10 points, the loser 9, unless there's like a knockdown or something where you dramatically win. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Whereas overseas, it's cumulative scoring. So
Oh, all
in the
right.
fight, I could totally dominate the first 2 rounds, but then they can come back and outpoint me in the last round and win the entire fight. So it's getting used to the scoring and what blows they actually do score, because a lot of the stuff you're throwing, they're not even scoring. Like if it grazes a glove, you're not getting scored. Everything has to be thrown with intention. So if it was a leg kick, it has to change my direction. It has to move that leg. If it's a punch, like a jab or anything, the only jab that's going to score is if it's a power and your head snapping back. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it was completely different than what I was used to. And it's live scoring as well. So you can see what judges are scoring, what punches and kicks live as it's happening. And your corners know exactly what you're scoring.
Is that a scoring you like, a system you like, especially after seeing all these UFC fights and everyone's complaining about the judges and everything like that? Is that something you would like to see implemented, or is that not something you're into?
In theory, I think it is an awesome system. But the way it was when I was over there, it almost felt like some things, like you would see punches and stuff like landing, like big punches. And you see this guy completely getting rocked, and you look and none of the judges are scoring it.
Oh, wow.
And you're just kind of like, what? Like I know, I mean, everybody when they lose, it's like a sour taste in your mouth, and you're like,
Hmm.
oh, I got robbed. But a lot of Team USA, when we were over there, it like baffled me. I was like, how is nothing we're throwing is being scored? But see, overseas, it's a lot of politics, and there's a lot more we're fighting against than just the fighter standing in the ring with you. So I wasn't a big fan of it, but it's also because I'm not used to it. That was my first
Hmm.
time ever fighting that style. You know what I mean? So I've never been scored like that. I didn't know what they were looking for. Like at the end of the fight, I was like excited, like I thought I won, and I walked to my corner, and they already know because there's a live screen, and my corners were just like looking at me, and I was like, did I lose? And they were just like, yeah, I don't understand how, but you did. And it's a different world over there. And since they do see each other, like they're fighting each other every weekend, they've figured out this scoring system. They figured out how to play the game, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can understand that. I also would imagine that you would have to be like, not bull rushing, but you definitely putting the pressure on to definitely score more points, and the pace is probably much higher, right?
Yeah, and it's definitely a lot of walking forward and lots and lots and lots of leg kicks. Like
Wow.
that is their number one thing that they're going to score is the leg kick, and they want to hear the leg kick. They want to see your leg buckle.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's a different world than what I'm used to. Because of course, like training the karate style, a lot of what we throw, almost everything we throw, is like body or head level. Like everything's head
Hmm.
kicks. Like we're aiming for that head. Whereas in Bosnia, when we were at the Wako Championships, no head kicks were landing because it's like touching a glove. Even if it's like hitting and their head snaps back or knocks them backwards, it's not going to score.
Oh, geez. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that makes it really difficult, and I would assume a little tiring, especially if you're throwing head kicks and hitting the gloves, but it's not landing. As you put quotes around that,
Yeah.
because I'm sure your opponent's feeling it absolutely. So that's pretty interesting and different. You know, what's next for you though in this sport after you go away, you fight and you compete. Hopefully, you go to the nationals and compete and win the gold and world. Excuse me. Um, you said you want to do more fights in the local scene. Is there a timetable to go pro, anything like that in the future?
Yes. So actually, my coach and I have been talking, and my dad, we've been talking about it a lot lately. I don't have a certain like time or a
Hmm.
certain month I'm turning pro, but hopefully here very soon. I actually was kind of holding out because my MMA game is not completely well rounded out. My wrestling, my jiu-jitsu is not where it needs to be right now for the MMA world. But I think as opposed to trying to develop that more so while I'm, because it's hard to focus on wrestling and MMA when all we're focusing on is World Games, Nationals, Pan Americans, like it's all kickboxing. So I think most likely going to take the pro route with kickboxing and then work my way into the pro MMA scene.
Slowly make your transition to, gotcha. And a lot of fighters do that, and I think it's always a pretty cool avenue. You see them, you work up in your kickboxing career, and then you make that transition over. Being a female fighter, I know up here in Long Island, New York State, a lot of women struggle to find fights, especially at the weight class you're at. Any thoughts of ever coming up or bringing women down and battling them and just kind of testing the area? I know you're traveling the world and the country is definitely a great test. But, you get to see what the other local scenes are like. Anything ever pass your mind like that?
Yeah, for sure. I'm willing to travel. I want to travel. I started boxing when I was 12. So from a young age, me and my dad, it was hard to find a fight around here. So me and my dad, when I was younger, we just took off all across the U.S. Like anywhere we could go, California, Missouri, Texas, anywhere you can think of, we've gone to try to get fights. So anytime there is any female willing, even if it's just a spar, a smoker, whatever it is, I would love to.
Awesome. And being a younger woman, you hear about CT, I'm sure, in football and, other sports, but you don't really hear about brought too much of in combat sports. Is that something that ever concerns you or passes your mind? Or, you're fighting now, you're very young and healthy, but when you get older, how's this going to affect me after I retire? Has that ever crossed your mind at all?
Honestly, it hasn't, but this is what I love. I believe this is why I was put on this earth, and I trust in God, and whatever happens, it's in his plan. So hopefully, fingers crossed, praying that never does happen, but I've never really given it much thought, or I wouldn't let it set me back from stepping in the ring or cage.
Now, when I saw you training in like light sparring with Weidman, you had the headgear on. Is that and the shin pads? Is that something you do every time you spar? Always headgear, shin guards?
Yeah. So I know a lot of gyms they're different in the way that they do it, but my coach Ray Thompson, he is very strict on. We're training. We're here to protect ourselves and our partners. So we're not there for a fight. We're there to learn and to get better and to make each other better. So when we're sparring, we want to be, if we can have elbow pads on anything, because even when you're just like drilling and stuff, we'll throw it on because sometimes there's headbutts, you might take an elbow to the eye and get a little cut. And it's just not worth it in training. You fight in the ring when you're getting paid for it or when there's a goal, not really in training, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, why put all that hard work you put in and then lose it one day in the gym and not get to prove yourself inside the ring? Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the biggest? First of all, what's your record again? I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, my combined record with boxing and kickboxing, I believe I'm like 60 something and 9.
Wow.
62 and 9. Well, that's my combined kickboxing and boxing record.
That's still a lot of wins.
Amateur MMA, I'm actually 0-2.
Okay. All right. And then you said you haven't taken only 2 fights in MMA, but you're working.
Yeah, those were back a couple years ago.
Working on the ground game and different parts of MMA. That's a lot of fights though as an amateur. Do you know there's? Be honest, I don't know if there's too many other women with that, especially your age, with that many fights. Do you come across many other people with that many fights as an amateur?
No, not really. When I was talking to some of the people overseas, like they were telling me they've had 200-300 fights. But again, most of them are pros. For Wako, you can't be a pro and still fight for the team. So most of them were pros and told me that. But in the States, that's why it's so hard, because I did start at a young age, and my dad was like so willing to travel with me and get work in when I was younger. It's hard now because my record's built up so much and I'm still an amateur, so it hasn't gone away yet. So it's hard to find fights.
Well, I would imagine that's why it would also make it tough to get local U.S. women to want to fight you on the amateur scene. Most of the women I come across, they, a few fights and it in their career, not 60 or 52-9 or anything like close to that record, which is unbelievable. But you have nine. You said you have 9 losses on you. What's the biggest take and the biggest thing you've learned from those losses?
No, I think every loss is different for me. Of course, when it happens, you hate losing. Like, you never want to stand in the ring and you see your opponent's hand get raised like that. It's just a crappy feeling. So in the moment, it's always hard to be like, I learned, not lost. But looking back on it, like after the fight, when you go back and you watch your film and you watch it, like the mistakes you made, like it really is such a big learning experience. Like my 2 MMA fights, I hate telling people, I absolutely hate telling people I'm 0-2. But my 2 MMA fights, those 2 losses, I learned more from those 2 than I have from any win I've ever gotten in the ring. Like, it's just, that's where, I know as an amateur, that's where you should make mistakes. So when I was in the cage and like in my head in the moment, I was like, this sucks. Like, I never want to be in this position again. So when I got out of the cage, instead of being like, oh, dang it, I can't believe I lost, I was like, show me that tape. And then I like took it to my coach and I'm like, how do I fix this? Like, what did I do wrong? So it's actually, you do learn and not lose.
Do you guys watch a lot of tape? I know a lot of fighters, they say they don't like watching tape and, they just want to train and then react. But like as a football coach, you watch a ton of film, you believe in a lot of film, and you learn a lot from it. And hearing you say you went back and watched it, is that something you guys do in your gym often?
Oh yeah, like even if I go, like a lot of times I'll go out of state and I'll go spar with some other females. My coach is always like, send me the video of you sparring today. I want to see the videos. And then he'll dissect it and tell me what he thought, what I did wrong. Because it's kind of like, when you're in the gym and there's mirrors in front of you and you're doing an exercise, like, and even if your coach or your trainer's like, hey, like pull your shoulders back, keep your chest up, until you see that in the mirror that like, oh, I'm bending over like this.
Yeah.
And then you like stand up like this. Like, you don't really know. So like there's things that I do like, in sparring or even in my fight that I don't realize that I'm doing that, or even in training. And then my coach like slows it down and he'll be like, pause, look, you do this, like your right hand drops here every time before you throw this punch, this hand drops this far, like. And my coach, he's just really awesome about stuff like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm a firm believer in watching film, and there's tons you can learn from it. Absolutely. So talking about branding, and a lot of fighters, they don't realize how important it is, I think, to brand themselves and get sponsors, especially as an amateur. Is that something you've taken into account? I know you're coming from a gym with pretty highly regarded fighters, and I'm sure they've taught you a little bit, but is that something you really focus on?
Honestly, this is something that has came up on my radar recently, because with the Wako Team USA, everything is self-funded. And as an amateur, that's tough, like to have to pay for me, because I pay for me and my coach to go anywhere we travel. So that's plane tickets, hotel rooms, and stuff like that. So before, I never really thought about it. And I was just kind of like, because younger, my dad would take care of all that stuff.
True.
So I was just like, yeah, I'll let him take care of it. But now that I am like a young adult now and having to do this stuff on my own, I didn't realize how important it is to have sponsors and to have people in your local community that are backing you up.
So how many sponsors do you have at the moment?
Currently, I have none.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, so if you're looking for a sponsor, Anna's looking to sponsor someone, sponsor Anna, people. Team USA all the way. Now, is that something you're like thinking about going, shorts? Like, do you have to wear just USA shorts, or can you put logos on your shorts and, sponsors and everything on your gloves and your shirt and everything like that?
I can definitely do that for all of my training stuff, and when I fight around here locally, I can. But overseas, for the Wako rules, the only thing allowed on our trunks is our country. So It would just be regular trunks to say Team USA. Gotcha.
Cool. All right. So branding is kind of a new thing to you. What's any tips that have they given you any ideas about what to do, and besides just reaching out to people and asking, or is there anything that they suggested to you?
Not really. Like I said, it was really this past fight that when we started talking about it, like my coach, he kind of laughed. He was like, you don't have any travel sponsors? And I was like, no. And he was like, what are you doing? So recently he's been getting on to me about that, but I honestly am kind of lost here and knew it all of it.
Gotcha. All right. Um, yeah, well, I can understand how that could be overwhelming. As well as what what do you work as well, or do you do anything like aside from training?
Yeah, so obviously training is my main focus because I do want this to be my
Hmm.
career, but I am also a fitness coach as well.
Okay, all right. So at the gym, you're also training, and as well as at the another gym. Cool.
Mhm.
Do you have any? Who inspires you? Do you have any like female athletes or even male athletes that inspire you and kind of someone you look up to? When you see that their career going up and down, and you just kind of take from that and learn how they handle things.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I look up to Steven
Mm-hmm.
because he was, I mean, I met him when I was 15, and just growing up and seeing him grow in his career and just seeing how he stayed humble and going through the ups and downs, the knee surgery and everything, that was incredible to me. But also, I think I can just personally relate to Holly Holm very well
Okay.
because she did start off as a boxer. Her father was a preacher, my dad was a preacher. Then she traveled into kickboxing after she went pro, or yeah, and then into MMA after kickboxing. So I just relate to her really well, and I think that she is an amazing person inside and outside the cage.
Oh wow, yes, you sounds like you have very similar stories.
Hmm.
Awesome, and we got. I don't even like talking about it because I think it's so ridiculous. But with the virus, the coronavirus going on, up in New York, it's a lot more all over the place. But is there any chance that this could stop you from going away and doing what you want to do and kind of disrupting your future and going to a fight?
I think the only way it could stop me is if they actually canceled the event.
Okay.
But I mean, obviously, I don't know how serious. I know it is a real thing, and it is the coronavirus is around. But I mean, I haven't thought that much into it.
'Cause
We
you
are
guys are
gonna
in
drive
South.
instead of fly.
Okay. And you guys are in
But
what,
that
South
is,
Carolina, right?
yes, sir. So it's about, I think it's like a 9.5, maybe 10 hour drive to Delaware.
Okay. All
So we
right.
are gonna do that as opposed to flying, but that's
Gotcha.
just how much.
Nice. Quarantine yourself in the truck.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I've seen, but it is crazy because my dad, he was traveling this past week and he was at the airport and he's like, everyone here is in masks and they're freaking out. Like everyone at my work's freaking out. Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, it's just gotten crazy, I think. I think it's serious, but at the same time, I think it's been blown out of proportion. Up here in New York, schools are closing, colleges are closed, and they're canceling events left and right. So, yeah, it's just
The
mayhem.
NBA canceled. What?
Yeah, NHL, NBA,
Yeah,
college basketball, all canceled. So,
yeah, that's crazy. So the college basketball, are they? They're still playing though. They're just doing it like kind
no,
of the Ultimate Fighter style.
I believe they officially canceled it today, about 2 hours ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so and
Dang.
I know Duke, the school, canceled all sports for the rest of the year, so they're not even going to be able to compete if they had a tournament. So
What?
yeah, it's kind of
So yeah, I did see one of our directors of Wako. She posted a video the other day. She's like, "We've discussed it. Nationals are still on. We'll see you guys there." And I was like, "Yes."
well,
So
that's awesome that
as
they're
of
still
right now,
doing
it's
it.
still happening unless something
Yeah,
crazy happens.
I know they were like talking about anywhere with like more than 5,000 people, they're just canceling these events. But I know my boss, he's in Chicago. His event got canceled, so he's got to fly back tonight after just flying out this morning. So uh,
No way.
yeah, it's
That's
good.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see how it affects the rest of the world, especially you're in a little bit more rural area than we are. So I was just curious
Yeah.
about that. But
Well, people in South Carolina are definitely freaking out too.
well, I hate to hear that, but well, I'm looking forward to seeing you get in it. How can people watch? Is it the fight's going to be streamed at all, or is there going to be any way that people can watch this live TV, anything like that?
Yes, so it'll actually be streamed. You have to join Wako, become a member. It's a free membership though,
Okay.
and there will be a link. I will share it on my Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to stream the fights.
Okay. And what was the dates again? The fights? I know it's like 3 or 4 weeks away.
It is, well, the fights will actually be March 28th and 29th.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool.
Wait, yeah, I believe so, 28th, 29th. This is Saturday,
Saturday, Sunday.
Sunday, yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, best of luck, Anna. I'm looking forward to seeing you get in there and fight. Definitely anyone who wants to see Anna fight, definitely go check it out. A talented young woman on the rise. I think you're definitely one of the top prospects in the female division. So looking forward to seeing you get in there, and definitely would love to see you get back in the MMA cage, definitely sooner than later. But
For sure.
before I let you go, what's one thing about you that nobody knows but you would like to share with everyone?
Ooh, that's a tough one. You could have gave me time to prepare for that. Something that nobody knows about me. Okay, this might be weird. I don't know if it's weird in New York, but around here in the South, it's really weird. I hate sweet tea.
Sweet tea.
Like, I hate the smell of sweet tea. Like, it's gross.
Just
I don't
like
understand why
normal
people like it.
sweet tea, as in like just normal iced tea, like.
Yeah, really, I'm not a fan of any kind of tea.
Okay.
But really, like, sweet tea, I don't understand it. It's literally just sugar and water with this nasty leafy taste. Like, I don't get it.
All right, so Anna does not like iced tea. Don't bring it around her, people. All right, well, best of luck, and I'm looking forward to seeing your fight. Anyone you want to recognize, anything you want to shout out to? Hopefully maybe you could get a sponsor, how people could contact you on social media.
Yeah, definitely. You can follow my Facebook page. It's just Anna Crutchfield. On Instagram as well as Twitter, I am acrutch18. And then, of course, just always want to show some love to my teammates at Pitch Black and Upstate Karate, and then my coaches and my family, of course.
Awesome. Well, Anna Crutchfield, hopefully you'll be making people use crutches after the fight. And best of luck. This is the Carol's Corner MMA podcast. We're with Anna Crutchfield, and we are signing off. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.